Hey everybody, it is on screen, off screen. We're back with another episode. We appreciate you all tuning in and watching us. Josh, let's go with your first topic.
Okay. The first thing I want to go over is BYU basketball. We had our Big Ten tournament. We played so good against Iowa State. It was so much fun to watch. I was on the edge of my seat the
It was really
entire
good.
time.
I even
It
watched it. It was good.
was so good. You'd have like 20-point swings back and forth where BYU would be up by 10 and then down by 10 and then up by 10. And so it was just so much fun and so frustrating to watch. BYU came out on top. It was great, beating them again. Um, and then we go on to Thursday, Friday, whatever day it was,
It's Friday.
to beat Houston. And we got absolutely embarrassed. So I don't want to talk about that one very much.
Got wrecked. I actually watched that one too.
Yeah, it was sad.
It was sad. It was rough.
BYU could not put anything together the entire game. Took us like 10 minutes to even make our first bucket. That's how sad it was.
It was pretty pathetic, which is too bad because we were doing quite good.
Yeah, if we could have beat
Oh,
Houston, that would have spoken tons to our ability at upcoming March Madness tournament. Starts tomorrow. I'm still very excited. Uh, I've picked BYU to make the Final Four in
really?
my
Okay.
bracket. Yeah,
Okay.
because we're a 6 seed. So if things go well, we have to beat one tough team, right? Basically, to get to the Final Four. Now,
That's
is
it.
that team Houston again? Most likely going to be. Yeah. But if we make Sweet 16, it's going to be good for us. If we make Final Four, it's going to be great. Um,
That would be sweet, man.
good. I hope
That would
I
be
hope you
sweet.
take it all the way. Of course, I'm a loyal fan, but trying to be realistic and where we can go.
And come back from a humiliating, absolute gutter defeat to destroy them in front of the entire world. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
That's the stuff movies made from. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's. Netflix has already announced that they're doing series based on BYU, so let's add this to their little list of things, and we can have our own Rudy or remember the Titans show based on us, and that would be pretty cool.
That'd be sweet. They win the whole
Yeah,
entire thing, and that's the way they end the show. Would be sick.
yeah,
That'd be
be
really
great.
cool, man. That's BYU basketball. What about F1?
F1, we had a very exciting, very awesome race. Uh, it rained and then it stopped raining and then it rained again. So we had this wet, dry, wet thing. We
Hmm?
had a driver lose. It was so slick that we had a driver out on the formation lap and two drivers out on the first lap.
That's awesome.
So a lot of carnage, a lot of chaos, a lot of things. Um, Isaac Hadjar, the driver that was out on the formation lap, you feel bad for him because his team owner, um, what's his name, Helmut Marko of Red Bull, said his reaction to what happened is an absolute embarrassment because Isaac got emotional and was sad, and
Okay.
that sucks that your basic big boss is like, you shouldn't have cried, man. That's stupid of you to cry over that. Like, this is his first race ever, and he crashed on the what an embarrassment to have crashed on the formation lap, and you're just gonna pile on like that, you monster. And then Anthony Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton's dad, went up to him and hugged him and was like, "We all go through this stuff. You're gonna come out better next time." So a rival driver's parent was supportive and kind and respectful. and your owner is an absolute piece of crap.
Just a complete prick.
Yep. Just another reason for me to hate Red Bull. Uh, that being said, who I thought was going to win, won.
Who was
Who
it?
I was hoping was going to lose, Lando Norris won.
Okay.
Max Verstappen took second. George Russell took third. Oscar Piastri, the home favorite, spun out towards the end, which is unfortunate because he could have taken second. Probably would have taken second. I was hoping Max was going to do worse. He did very well. Very sad for me. Ferrari did dreadful. They
Oh,
started at sixth and seventh and finished eighth and 10th.
that sucks.
Yeah, there
It
was a
bad.
small moment of hope where they might have called the right. They took a chance on um, staying on dries when they should have gone on wets, and they were 1-2. I was like, "Oh, please be the right call. Please be the right call." And then it was the wrong call, so they had to pit and go all the way to the back of
That's too
the pack.
bad. So you do think it was bad driving this time, like mistakes?
It was the car mixed with like Lewis was arguing with his engineer the whole time about how to overtake the car in front of him. So it was very frustrating to listen to, but they're just going to take some work. I fully believe that as soon as they get to know each other and more comfortable, that they will be better communicating. But like it's their first race for the first time, they're paired out for the first time. They haven't really figured out how to communicate with each other just yet. So that's what I think it is. Um, yeah, overall it was a very exciting race to watch, though. It's always exciting to you know not be sure about strategy or this, that, and the other. And rain is always interesting and fun and mixes things up.
Cool. Was it a close race between Max and the first place finisher?
It's hard. So you had the first stage, which was wet, and Max was in second place, rightfully. He overtook Oscar
Okay.
and was tracking down Lando.
Okay.
And then we got to the second stage of the race where it was essentially dries.
Mhm.
So cars were going on slick tires. They were driving at their more regular speeds. And Oscar overtook Max, and there was like a 17-second gap. And then we had the third phase after safety car where we went back into wets. So, and then you had first and Max in second, and there was less than a second between them at the end of the race. But that third stage was only like 5 laps of racing, so it wasn't like a full representation of like what the cars can do, what the drivers can do. It was more about holding position at that point for basically everybody, and the only one who lost a position during that time, to my knowledge, is Lewis Hamilton, which sucks.
That does suck.
But he lost it to Oscar Piastri, who is in the fastest car, and Piastri was only back there because he spun out. So it was still a very impressive move by Oscar, honestly. But
Is Oscar a pretty good driver?
yeah, he is.
And he's from Australia. This was an Australian race, right?
Yep,
So he has some home turf advantage too, probably.
sort of. Yeah, the crowd was sure rooting for him in this race. Um,
Well, dude, you got to get
yeah.
to one of these games or one of these races.
I've got to just watch Lewis do well. That's all I really want. I don't care to actually be at the race.
I'm
I
pretty
might
sure
be
that
at
if you
Vegas.
were there, Lewis would do well. He'd be like, "Oh, Josh is here. I have to do good."
Well, we'll see because there's a pretty good chance I might be going to Vegas this year.
That'd be sick. That would be really,
Possibility.
really cool, man.
Yeah, my work might be sending me for that. So
For the
very
actual
cool.
race,
hmm
that would
To
be
do my
so
job,
cool.
to do security for the race. Apparently, the it's right at the start finish line too. So it would be a cool, cool thing.
That would be an amazing experience. I hope you can do that. That would be incredible. Honestly,
It would be great.
I would love that.
Cool.
Well, man, my first topic is rule breakers. Um, we've got some friends that are they have a girl who's 13ish, and then her younger sister is maybe 10, and they're very into education and anything like that. Very appeals to them. I hadn't heard of this movie. I didn't know this movie was coming out. And they asked if we wanted to go to it. And I was like, sure, why not? We'll go see how it goes. It's, I like the concept of the movie. I like where it's coming from. You're learning about Afghanistan and this culture where women are still not treated the same as men, where they do have, it's not as incentivized for them to have education. So you start with this woman who is the main focus of the show. And she's this little girl, and her dad decides to believe in her. Like, you want to play with computers, if you want to work, if you want to do that kind of stuff, it might be kind of hard, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to help you out. I believe in you. And they get this computer. This is like 1999, 1998. And she's just mesmerized by the computer. She wants to be on the computer. But when they unbox it and they only have two of them, the teacher says, girls, everybody go outside. Boys, you can stay inside. I went and looked up if that actually happened, and that did happen to her. The girls were all told to stay outside. And every single time they had computer class, the girls just stood out in the hallway while the boys were on the computer, which is that's crazy to me. It seems like you would just have the girls sit in the back of the class, even in this kind of culture, but no, they just stood outside. She consistently wanted to learn computers. Years pass, she's late teenager, and she goes to a local store clerk. And the store clerk has a computer. He's old, he doesn't know how to use it. She makes a deal with him that she will come in before any customers are inside. That way, he's not embarrassed, learn how to use the computer, and then teach him how to do it. So, day after day, with her and her best friend, go into this computer lab, basically, go into this store clerk's computer. They learn how to do it. They read books. They do anything they can. They learn how to program. They learn how to do all of this. Teaches the store owner how to run these computers, and kind of starts to change his mind a little bit. He still doesn't like, he's still part of the culture that he's from, so he doesn't like women being involved in some different things, but he likes her. He's friends with her, and he wants to see her successful. She decides that she is going to teach other women, how other girls, how to have computer skills, how to be able to program, that kind of thing. Try to help them be more free in the 21st century. Um, and so she starts doing these little classes and little school classes for girls to teach them these STEM filled educational concepts. Um, she gets class after class after class, but the class show up is really small. They have to contend with their uncles that say that they shouldn't be dealing with STEM, that this is a waste of time, and that girls don't need to learn this stuff, that they shouldn't be learning this stuff. Their dads that are saying the exact same thing. And these girls have to push and be sneaky and do it anyway. And most of these classes are filled with little girls who are honestly lying to their parents to be able to learn computers, because it's a way of escaping just the reality that they see for themselves in their futures. They want something a little bit more. At least that's the way that this movie is portraying things to be. Um, the groups aren't growing fast enough. There's a founder that's from India that has a company that's in the United States, and he decides to take a bet on this woman, the main woman of the show, and on her business and on growing. She comes up with this idea. We have to come up with something that's a pizzazz, that really grabs people, that really shifts the narrative for our girls and helps them see what they're capable of. So we want to start a Afghani girls robotics team. It's the first Afghani robotics team of any kind. They go and they get the money and they get the team to be able to go to Washington and compete with this robot that they've had for literally 3 weeks. The United States tries to stop them from coming in. This is during the time of ISIS and different things. So Afghan is just on a watch list, and anyone from Afghan Iran is just blocked. Iran has had a boys team for a very long time, so they're allowed to go to this competition. They've been vetted and they're allowed to go. This Afghani girl team doesn't have enough time to be vetted, so they're not going to be allowed in. Media pulls up this giant storm. You're stopping these girls from being successful. You're not helping these girls be successful. You're trying to stop a third world country from becoming something more. And obviously, the United States is embarrassed. They get them the visas and they're able to go to this competition. At the competition, they give them kind of a you did really good celebration medal. The woman who owns this group, who is helping these girls learn STEM education, she's helping these girls learn robotics, gets is kind of embarrassed, which I would be too. I feel that she's embarrassed that we couldn't actually get a medal. We just had to get like this support
Participation
medal.
trophy.
Um, participation trophy. Yeah, that's really what they get. They get a participation trophy. But the girls are just thrilled that they got something. They've never gotten something in their entire lives. And they were absolutely thrilled that they got something. That doesn't change the fact that the owner is embarrassed and she wants to win and she wants to prove that they can actually be something. When they get back home, the Afghan girls team has been all over social media. And in their culture, touching a boy who you're not engaged in, who you're not married to, is very sinful. And they sign each other's shirts. And there's a picture of one of
This one should be pretty quick. It doesn't. On a quite big change of pace from the seriousness that we just talked about. Justice League Crisis on Two Earths is an animated Justice League movie. I found it on TikTok of this guy who is talking about how it was so clever and interesting and one of his favorite Justice League films. Compared it to Flashpoint Paradox. This movie was fine. Uh, as per usual, Batman saves the day basically single-handed. The plot is an evil version of the Justice League from an alternate Earth has decided that it's going to destroy all life because life is bad. And good Lex Luthor came to our Earth to take our Justice League to take on Anti Justice League. In doing so, it gets to a point where Anti Justice League has built a bomb, and a bomb so powerful and so evil in its destruction of matter that if it goes off on Prime Earth, it will not only destroy that universe, it will destroy all universes. And so that is evil Batman's in this show, Owlman's secret plan is that he's not going to use it to blackmail the world like the rest of the Justice League, evil Justice League was going to do, is he wanted to destroy all life. So he takes the bomb to Prime Earth and the portal gun that has been working flawlessly throughout the movie suddenly doesn't work because there's too much interference. And so good Lex Luthor figures out that if you somebody were to move at just the right frequency, they could open a portal to follow Owlman through his portal. And of course, the Flash pops up and is like, I can do this. And Batman says, no, I don't think you're fast enough. So evil Flash shows up. It's like, oh, I can do it. And he's like, oh, it's going to be really hard. And Flash is like, no, I can do it. And evil Flash is like, no, I can do it too. And so evil Flash gets on the platform and starts to vibrate and matches the frequency. And then Batman is the only person who can follow through this portal because he has the portal gun and that holds him together somehow. And goes and fights Owlman and tricks Owlman as per usual Batman does is sometimes he doesn't outright just beat them, but in this case he swipes Owlman's portal gun off of him while they're fighting, and then tricks Owlman into getting strapped to the bomb, and then uses the portal gun to take Owlman to a different Earth where it was frozen over or something and there is no life, where the bomb goes off. So Batman breaks his rule and kills someone. And then Batman comes back to the second Earth with everybody else. And Bad Flash slows down. And it turns out that vibrating that much has aged him significantly. Like he went from like 20 something to like 90 something. And Good Flash is like, "You knew that was going to happen, didn't you?" And Batman was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "And that's why you didn't do it." He was like, "Yeah." And then Bad Flash is like, "Nice one." And then they go back to regular Earth, and that's the end of the movie. This movie was so oversold to me. It was fine. That little trick of tricking Bad Flash to do it because it would age him, and Batman somehow knew that that would happen. Sure, it's clever. If that's gonna happen, and him tricking the bad one to do it, like, yeah, credit where it's due. That's a clever little workaround that they did. But this is not Flashpoint Paradox good. This is not any of the animated Batmans that I know and love good. No Returning of Joker. Like, this goes on my list of I'm okay that I watched it. Not particularly upset that I watched it. Would I recommend people watch it? No. I mean, I guess if you're really into the Justice League or Batman, or anything like that and you haven't seen it yet, sure, give it a try, I guess. Why not? I mean, it's not none of it is bad. It's just none of it is really like good or great either, other than that one little like, "Oh, that was clever," kind of moment. Did you watch this one or Infinite Earths? That's Infinite Earths. That has part 1, part 2. Yeah. I confused them too, so don't yeah. I almost went and tried Infinite Earths, but decided that no, it's not right now. Yeah. Well, if you want to watch it, I know you like Batman. It's not a bad way to spend an hour and a half. It is very yeah. Like like I said, I it's let's put it up against our measuring stick, right? We'll talk Infinite Earths. Is it better than Black Panther? I would put this one on par with Black Panther. Yeah. Like, I'm a little annoyed. I'm slightly annoyed that Batman breaks his rule and kills basically 2 people, and nobody cares. Batman doesn't care. Nobody cares. Yeah. So I watched that movie. Let's go on to our final topic now. So this is the one where we finally got the World Summit. It's been building up for basically an entire book. Basically all of book 2, we know that the World Summit is coming up. I'm a little disappointed in what didn't happen at the World Summit. Like I was expecting like more. Like it's called the World Summit. We've been building up to it for an entire book, which for him is like 12 to 14 hours of audiobook time. Well, at my 1.5 speed. I think regularly they're like 20 hours. That's how slow that guy normally speaks. But it just seemed like a big, big thing. And what actually happened, I still love what actually happened. But what actually happened was a group of people got together and they took 3 votes on stuff that, while kind of important, are not like big world changing things, right? The first one was who's a world leader, and they pick none of the above. And then they say, well, we have this market. We're only going to stock it with specific things. Which things do you want? And Jake is like, I want alchemy supplies. And because he's the most powerful dude, a bunch of other people are like, yeah, I'll do that. Sure. And then they argue about whether or not it should be wood or stone building supplies for literally like an hour in this book. And the whole point is that Jake doesn't care. So our main protagonist doesn't care, and we're spending like an hour talking about it. And then the third vote, I don't even remember what it is. Oh, it was the trial, right? They voted on the treasure hunt rather than the trials or the one-on-one combat or anything like that. And it's like the most obvious one that humans would pick, but they still like pretended for an hour that maybe the combat one would win because some people might benefit from it. Of course, some people might benefit from it, but obviously the one that doesn't end in people's death, that gives you more loot, is the best for everyone. You freaking idiots. Um, yeah. So would the combat, right? Experience, but the challenge dungeon ends in people dying, and the treasure hunt doesn't. They can't die. If they die, they get teleported out. It's just obviously, this is the one you want, and here's some other options. Kinda like when he gets his level ups, like his skills, there's like one that's very obviously the best one, and some other ones that it's like, yeah, maybe if this like obvious one wasn't there. Well, yeah, he also contemplated changing races because the other race was obviously better. But we never, as readers, questioned that he would choose the other race, right? And same with the slaver one. He's obviously like, yes, statistically it's better, but he has built this character prowess of this is just me anyway, right? I'm not gonna change races because I'm human and whatever, right? So we got one that was like not the best one finally. You're right. But it wasn't like we had any doubt which one he was going to pick. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the closest we got was in book 1, and that was because he had good choices and great choice. So it was like he literally said it. He's like, if I can ever come back and get that skill later, I will. But that's not like, yeah. Anyway. So I'm a little disappointed in that. Now, pros about the World Conference, I love that his family's there. It establishes that the bloodline is like his brother's one of the most powerful, other most powerful. And he's in an assassin guild, so similar traits going on there. And the brother absolutely has a bloodline ability, though it hasn't been stated if he knows that or not. Um, I love the interactions with all of the characters. We finally got to know some of those other points of views. Um, we finally like built on things. It's super interesting that the I mean, it doesn't say that they're Asian, but the Asian family is like, "Hey, you should go get to know that guy because if you 2 get married, that could be very good for all of us," you know? And then the other one is like, "Hey, I'm grandpa and I'm super wise and you guys have similar talents. And so hanging around his talent might actually make you better at your talent. So you should go try and learn from him. And if something romantic happens, that would be good too." And you're like, okay, grandpa, you know. So we got two characters, both kind of like having ulterior motives to romance Jake, but none of them are like cynical or evil, which is really, really great at this point. It really is. You're absolutely right. I love Sophie. I love that we got stuff from her point of view. Um, I love that it makes sense to us as a reader on how she observed things. Um, right. In terms of like, Uncle likes to use squiggly marks to communicate with other humans, and like we know that that's writing, but she doesn't as a bird. Um, yeah, he likes a stinky pot, and this is a stinky thing, but maybe they're different kinds of stinky, I guess. And she thought absolutely great. I love Sylvie. Sylvie's wonderful. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens and where she goes. She got a blessing, which is really cool. Um, a lot of good stuff. This is a really good book. It's a really great one. I love the interaction between Jake and the lizard god, and the lizard god giving somebody else his blessing for no other purpose than his own entertainment and making Jake be in a social situation. And Jake's response to that is, "I'm going to give you the worst sculpture you can possibly imagine, to kind of mock you back." I love their relationship to each other. I love their interactions. It's just great. Just great. I love all the fights in this one. The monkey fights was like funny and interesting, and it wasn't like a big boss fight like some of the previous ones, but it was still entertaining, but just for different reasons. Um, I've already started book 5, so I'm really excited as to where things are going. Um, it's just great. I've got no complaints. My one caveat to this series so far is just like this is a phase 2 lit RPG. Don't listen to this one as your first lit RPG. It can be your second or third, but this shouldn't be your first simply because of how lit RPG-ish. And I'm honestly just grateful we've gotten less repetitive. Right? You still repeat some things, but it's no longer 3 or 4 times in a row, so that's good. You don't need to say what it is, say you chose it, and then say it again. You don't need to do that. You just say what it is one time, and you can just upgrade it. It's totally fine. So, I'm so excited already. I'm, like, barely into it. I love just start with Dungeon Crawler, Carl. Just start there. That is just the best starting.